How's it going, everyone? I am coming at you with a 5-minute craft chat about getting through the muddy middle. Now, when someone told me I only had 5 minutes to do this, I said, do you know me? Do you know how much I like to rant? So I tried to condense it down into 5 tips that I think will help you get through this very difficult part of your book. So, tip number 1, let your character lead. We had Stephen James on the podcast a little bit ago, and he said something that really changed the way I think about writing. And he doesn't know how a scene or a chapter ends when he starts it. Rather, he knows where he starts with his characters, he knows what his characters want, and then he says, how are they going to get there? What decisions are they going to make to pursue their goals? And he lets his characters lead them. Sometimes we don't know where we're going to turn next in our story. We don't know exactly where we want to go with this tale, even if it's all in our head. So ask your characters, ask what they want, and then make choices based on what they would do. Let them lead you through. This also has the added benefit of letting you write more organically, because instead of ushering your characters along somewhere, you are letting them pursue their goal. All right, step number 2, skip ahead. Now, most books are written chronologically, but that doesn't mean they were actually written that way. Oftentimes, I'll come to a scene where I don't know what's going to happen next, and this usually is in the second act, in the middle. And so I'll just skip ahead to a next scene. Or maybe I'll have a scene further ahead that I really, really want to write, and as a result, this current scene just seems so boring, and I can't bring myself to do it. When I'm done a first draft, there are at least half a dozen, maybe a dozen unfinished scenes that I have to go back and finish up. Now, I'm not saying you have to leave a scene unfinished, but if you are struggling with a particular one, just jump ahead and write something that's exciting. When you do this, you are probably going to have to revise whatever you jumped ahead to, because you're going to do a little bit exploring along the way before you actually get to where you were. But revisions happen after this month. We are just trying to get this draft written. So don't let something like boredom with a scene or a lack of enthusiasm or excitement for a different scene stop you from succeeding. All right, tip number 3, and that is revisit or make your outline. Now, maybe you're getting stuck in the middle because you just don't know what comes next. Now's a good time to revisit that outline that you've put a lot of work into. It will reframe the journey of your characters for you and give you some guidance on where you're supposed to go. Or it'll tell you, hey, this is where you thought you were going, but maybe that doesn't make sense anymore. And so you can plan accordingly and revise your outline as a result. Now, if you skew harder to the pantser side of the plotter-pantser spectrum, don't worry, I'm not going to make you make a whole outline, but perhaps jot down a few notes about the next couple scenes, maybe the next couple chapters, maybe the end of your book. I don't know. I'm not going to take your pantser card. Just do what feels right. But sometimes we need that extra guidance, especially when we're trying to cram so many words in such a short span of time. Tip number 4, that is revisit your goals and your rewards. Now remember, goals are supposed to be empowering and motivating. You're supposed to want to achieve them. And if you are consistently setting goals like 1,667 words a day, which is our daily goal to write 50,000 words in 30 days, and you are not meeting it, then your goal is doing the opposite of what it's supposed to do. It is continually deflating you and making you not want to even try. So let's revisit our goals. Do they make sense for you? Do you need to change them up? Have things maybe popped up and you need to just revise that big goal, maybe take smaller chunks and pursue a 40,000 word goal or a 20,000 word goal for this month. Now listen, I would rather you write 20,000 or 40,000 words this month and then write more next month than try to get to 50,000, burn yourself out and not write until the middle of next year. And think about your rewards too. Every goal should be tied to a reward. I'm talking daily goals, weekly goals, and the big one, that 50,000 word goal. That's because when we achieve the goal, we want to reward ourselves. We get that little kick of endorphins, that serotonin, when we give ourselves something for achieving hard work. And eventually our brain says, oh, when I put in all this effort, I get something I really like. Do that again and again and again, and your brain will want you to push through the middle, even if it feels like it's a little sloggy. Now, it might be that you need to revisit your rewards themselves. Maybe they're not as motivating as you thought they would be. Take a look at them again, make sure they work for you, they work for your budget, and they're actually something that will push you to keep moving through this very difficult part of the book. And tip number 5, this is probably my favorite one, and if you've been to a workshop or a writing sprint, you've probably heard me gush about this one, and that is no 0 days. To be honest, you might need a break. Writing so many words in such a short span of time when you have the rest of your life going on, that's hard work and you might be close to burning yourself out. Now, with no 0 days, we're going to get something of a break, but we're going to make a commitment to write at least one word every single day. Just one. Now, that's nothing, right? That is 30 seconds worth of work. That is just a minuscule amount of effort that I think we can all do, barring some very serious emergency. No 0 days works because it continually pushes us towards our goal. We are always making progress, but we are not burning ourselves out. And those little things add up. Plus, when you start writing, let's say you write 10 words or 50 words, maybe you get inspired. Maybe you are more excited about this particular scene than you thought you were, so you keep writing. Maybe you hit 500 words that day, maybe 1,000 words that day. Regardless, it all started with just one word. So right now, even if you don't take any of these other tips, I want you to say that you are going to have no 0 days for the rest of this challenge through the muddy middle and beyond. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 tips for getting through the muddy middle. It is a very hard section of your book, and not all of these tips have to do with the actual writing itself. Oftentimes it's the circumstances around our writing that really get us down. So I hope they were helpful. Good luck on your writing. I hope you achieve all the goals you set out for, and if we see you at a writing sprint, I'll see you soon.